Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the most awaited session of this conference. As you all know, we are absolutely thrilled to have with us our chief guest, none other than Shri Piyush Goyal ji, the Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. Accompanying him is our guest of honor, His Excellency Shri Gopal Bagle ji, the Indian High Commissioner to Australia. I request Mr. Manoj Gaur, Mr. Baman Irani, Shekhar Patel, Jakshay Shah, Irfan Razak, G. Ram Reddy and Nagaraj Reddy to escort our special dignitaries to stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Shri Piyush Goyal ji. Can we show him how happy we are to have him with us in this special conference? Please join me in extending a very warm welcome to Shri Piyush Goyal ji, the Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. We all know that his visionary leadership and his commitment to economic growth have been pivotal in fostering stronger trade relations and driving innovation in our country, and we love that. We are truly grateful for your presence here today. I'm also delighted to welcome His Excellency Shri Gopal Bagle ji. He is the Indian High Commissioner to Australia, and his tireless efforts in strengthening ties between India and Australia have literally opened up new avenues for collaboration and for partnership. Gopalji, your leadership and dedication, he's not listening, but are inspiring, and we are truly honored to have him with us. Gentlemen, as much bonhomie is happening on stage, please join me in welcoming them, and we will have a brief felicitation ceremony for our esteemed guests to begin with. I would request Mr. Gaur, Mr. Baman Irani, and Mr. Shekhar Patel to felicitate Shri Piyush Goyal ji, and Mr. Jakshay Shah and Irfan Razak, and Mr. G. Ram Reddy and Mr. Nagaraj Reddy to felicitate Shri Gopal Bagle ji. Can we please have the felicitations? Come in. Right, we will now proceed with our felicitation ceremony. Please give a warm round of applause and warmly welcome our guests. Thank you so much for taking out time to be with us at the CREDAI NATCON. Wow, he looks nice in that Mysore patta. Thank you, gentlemen. We will now proceed with our national anthems. First, we're going to honor the national anthem of Australia, followed by the national anthem of India.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea, our land about जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Ooh. Always a very goosebumpy moment whenever the anthems are played. I would now like to invite the convener of CREDAI Women's Wing, Ms. Rupa Shah, Ms. Sarah Jacob, Mr. Abhishek Bhattivara, Mr. Suhail Rahman, and Mr. Sriram to join us on stage for the release of a white paper jointly developed by the CREDAI Women's Wing and IIM Bangalore. And I would also request Shri Piyush Goyal ji, His Excellency Shri Gopal Bagle ji, and other dignitaries on stage to facilitate the release of this white paper. Ladies and gentlemen, the white paper, this white paper is not just a collection of insights. It represents the hard work, dedication, and vision of many who believe in the power of women's leadership in this country. So thank you, and let's celebrate this remarkable achievements, and we look forward to the impactful changes it's going to bring. I say anything if women decide to do, they do it really well, and they can multitask at that. So I think kudos for that. Thank you so much. And congratulations on the release of this paper. I would now like to invite Mr. Baman Irani, the president of CREDAI, who is going to share his insights with us. Over to you, Baman.
Thank you, Minnie. A very good afternoon to our Honorable Minister for Commerce and Industry, Shri Piyush Goyal ji, and the Indian High Commissioner to Australia, Shri Gopal Bagle ji, and all the esteemed members on the dais, my dear friends. Today is the second day of a great learning event that we are carrying on for the 22nd time called NATCON. Sir, this is our attempt at aligning the developer fraternity of moving towards or achieving our Honorable Prime Minister's Viksit Bharat dream by 2047. Today, 1,110 members from more than 110 cities, towns, areas are assembled over here. And we are indeed glad that we have had the opportunity of having you amongst us, adding further to this August gathering. Sir, before I go further, it is my earnest wish and desire that CREDAI is entering its 25th year on the 25th of November, sir, for which we have extended an invitation to your office. We really wish you grace that occasion and be a part of guiding us for the future. We are having this in Delhi on the 25th of November, sir. Now, while we carry out, as you all know, various events in India, we did the MSME, the New India Summit in Varanasi this year with about 650 people. Our developer fraternity, where we took them to Varanasi, had various speakers come over there, and then of course show them the lovely old city and how beautifully 2,000 years of existence in continuous use has been, taken into the stride of that city. So we're going to have the next one in Nasik this year. We've also had, we have various SouthCon, EastCon, WestCon. We had the SouthCon in Vijayawada, where I was there recently. And then before that, we had in association with MoHUA in New Delhi, housing challenges, basically new age technology and housing challenges as an event. I do know that our Prime Minister has said very clearly that organize maximum events in India. And that is why I kind of laid the stage for why we are in Sydney here today. So Sydney gives us an opportunity to see the latest in urban master planning, which is, as we were walking here, sir, I showed you that bridges go over buildings, and I told you about roads going under buildings, whereas in a place like Mumbai, which is space-starved, I still have a problem of leaving 30 meters from a railway line. And, sir, it becomes extremely difficult for us to go ahead from door to door to get various permissions. You are also aware of, sir, the Ministry of Defense issues that Mumbai faces. But we leave that for another day. Sydney, sir, is a 20-minute city. Anywhere to anywhere is 20 minutes. Public transport is beautiful. We've got great infrastructure, and like you saw, urban spaces for habitable, good habitation within or entwined within a part of the city itself. The focus out here is on livability, on transport networks, and housing models. Having said that, I was with a fellow developer who told me Sydney has its own challenges as far as affordable housing goes, for which, sir, the government of South Wales is looking at creating more rental housing for the people out here to control the rent for those who come over here. Yesterday, we all heard Mr. Neelkant Mishra. Sir, you must be aware that he's the chief economist at Axis Bank, but more importantly, he's also on our Honorable PM's Economic Advisory Council, and he's part-time chairman at Aadhaar as well as at TRI. He mentioned a few important things which I would like to bring to your attention, sir. He spoke about how important it is for real estate to be a part of the India growth story. And over here, we all talk about real estate affecting our GDP by almost 8%. We have some data. This is very important, sir. I'll request your indulgence. Real estate is 8% of the GDP. But, sir, if you take into consideration the 250 industries, let me start off by something as simple as banking. Banking is 30% of your GDP, our GDP, and of that, real estate affects it by 20%. Add 6% of that, and you will see that if you keep adding all the parts, we are almost at 50% of the impact on the GDP itself. He mentioned that today our economy, we are 0.3 trillion of the economy. But he also mentioned that going forward, when the Indian economy is going to be 20 trillion, at that point of time, relying just on external sources, including exports, will not add more than 1 more trillion to the entire, aid to the GDP. Whereas, if you focus on internal consumption, we will have a greater multiplier or a cascading effect, and that will lead to a greater growth. Sir, just a few countries that have done it before us: the US, Japan, Germany, Korea, China, nobody can forget. And now this is possibly the time we can ride on the back of real estate growth and grow the largest or become the third largest economy in the world sooner than expected. So just again to give you an idea, 21.4% of the GDP of the United States, which is such a large economy, is driven by real estate. In South Korea, that is 16.5%. In Germany, it's 10.8%. In the UK, it's 12%. So we also released a study which is on the table, which I will be happy to pass on to you, sir, of the Collier's report on the impact of real estate on the GDP. We are the fastest growing economy, slated to become the third largest in the world by 2030. This in itself is a great milestone year that we are all looking forward to. So real estate employs 70 million people. This is up from about 30 million in 2010. in 14 years, we've more than doubled. And sir, an additional point out here, I must state, is that we employ the largest number of category 3 and 4 laborers, basically those that do not have education. And over that, I will come back later and tell you what it is that CREDAI does for them. The sector supports not only job creation, but infrastructure growth, commercial and residential, industrial and retail development, as well as hospitality in a very large way. So we are headed towards urbanization of 50% of our population by 2045. But more importantly, by 2060, we'll be 65% of urbanization. So we'll be an urban, we'll have more people living in urban areas. What that means, sir, is 100 million new homes will get developed. 2.8 billion square feet of grade A commercial development is required. This is for you also, my friends. 100 million new homes, 2.8 billion square feet of commercial grade A development that is going to take place. We're going to be a market of 1.3 trillion as a real estate industry by 2034. Besides this, we also heard about the opportunity of senior living, which is going to grow from 11% to 21%, which put a big smile on my friend Vishal's face yesterday. Sir, senior living, which is about 2 to 3 billion today, will grow to about 10 to 12 billion by 2030. Grade A office space I've already mentioned. I've already told you the internet. This is an interesting one as well. The internet presentation, the internet permeation in India is going to be close to around 95%, which is, we are going to overtake China in our internet usage as a country. All these are great signs. By 2040, we'll have 1.5 billion subscribers on what we normally call our handheld devices. And US $60 billion in institutional investments in real estate have hit us in the last decade. So this report majorly points out towards, our Prime Minister has taught us, sir, that you have to look 50 years hence. But we are looking at the next 25 years, and that is what we are working towards, given that we will be 25 in this year itself. Now, sir, we also understand that sustainability is a very important part of our development cycle or business going forward. We know we and infrastructure add 26% of the global pollution in terms of carbon emission. Over here, sir, India has taken a pledge to be carbon neutral by 2070. I want to state that the earlier president, Mr. Harshvardhan Patodia, made us as developers take a promise that we will try to reach that mark by 2050. So we are working towards that. At every event, we have a tie-up with people who are working on the sustainable development side. And this morning, we had a lovely chat with people who are working towards that. One more important piece of information, sir. We have tied up with IGBC. Again, yesterday was our second tie-up with them for creating green homes and green developments, whether it be residential or commercial. And I'll be happy to state to all of you and to our Honorable Minister that as part of the 25th year of CREDAI, CREDAI has taken a pledge to plant or to build 1 lakh green certified homes. That is 1 lakh green certified homes. 5 lakh construction workers will be skilled. We will plant 10 million trees. We will transform 1,000 government or schools that are ill in terms of infrastructure and give them a smart classroom, drinking water. Thank you. It is our collective responsibility, not mine alone. Drinking water as well as great sanitation facilities. And sir, lastly, with the likes of Irfan Bhai out here, we will develop close to around 25 million square feet of green commercial spaces. This one target I am confident we'll absolutely have crossed much before. Again, sir, when I started my journey to serve as President of CREDAI, I received a letter from our Honorable Prime Minister, and we created the acronym by which we will go for the future of CREDAI's shoulder to shoulder working with the government. And we picked up all the words from the Prime Minister's letter which was addressed to me. And I was fortunate to receive that. We spoke about growth. The acronym that we used was growth, where G stood for green construction, and we are strongly working towards that. R spoke for reforms, reforms within the developer industry, because if we have to work shoulder to shoulder with the government, we need to be absolutely in a state of mind where we are continuously reforming the way we work itself. O was the opportunity that this country offers us today. I've said this 10 times. There is no better place to be in the world than in India at this moment in time for all of us, especially those in the real estate industry. So O is for the opportunity. W, sir, was for the women inclusiveness. It started off as empowerment till somebody told me women don't need empowerment. They're very empowered. And Minnie out here has been saying it since yesterday. But we are talking about women. Yes. T is for transparency, which we will keep. And H is for the housing for all, which has been our Prime Minister's objective. Sir, I will not burden you with the list of asks that we have. But I'll tell you what will allow us to help you build a better India, which is, I believe, the vision of our Prime Minister. Sir, we need land. We need simplified bylaws. And finally, sir, we need last mile infra. You give us these three things, I think this fraternity out here will outdo your expectations. I will though leave you with one small point, sir, which comes in your area of handling itself. Sir, we employ a lot of construction equipment or machinery from abroad, and we pay some ridiculous taxes. I could give you an example of a fire brigade system that I required for my township, where I purchased it for about 2.5 crores, and I wound up paying 5 crores as import duties, or thereabouts. Don't hold me to it, but thereabouts I paid as import duties for it, for something which is life-saving for the people. This, sir, comes directly under you. I will come and present to you, and hopefully we will get there. And the last request that I would leave with you, because it's a larger request, sir, all industry-related norms are put upon us, and we are very happy to have that. But what we don't have, sir, is working with RBI, where we can get the same terms of financing that industry manages to get. And again over here, sir, I know the many hats you've worn, and I'm hoping some that you will, which will be beneficial for us in the future. I'm not trying to say anything, but I'm saying something. And we will continue to generate a lot more employment. We will continue to build our Viksit Bharat with you shoulder to shoulder. And with that, sir, we would love to hear from you. And please address this gathering. Gentlemen.
My very good friend, somebody, while I've known him for many years, but now I look at him with a different eye because he's also a large developer in my own constituency. लोक सभा में आने के बाद नजरिया बदल जाता है पर बमन ईरानी जी as president of CREDAI, you do us proud, and I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that under your leadership the 25th year will be a glorious year, and I congratulate all of this August gathering. It will be a privilege for me to join you on 25th November in Delhi, and I accept your invitation. Mr. Jagsay Shah, the former president of CREDAI, and again, not only my very good friend, but also my colleague in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry as chairman of Quality Council of India. Somebody who's helping me take the concept of quality across the nation in every sector. And I'll respond to all that you have said, Baman, in a minute. A senior leader of the fraternity, Shri Irfan Bhai Razak, somebody who has really created iconic structures in Bengaluru and has now entered my home city of Mumbai also in a very big way. Wonderful to see you, Irfan Bhai, after a long time. We have Mr. Ram Reddy, Mr. Nagarajan, Mr. Manoj Govt from Delhi, Mr. Shekhar Patel. all leading developers. But our host today in this wonderful gathering, Shri Gopal Bagle, the High Commissioner of India to Australia, deserves special mention for the sensitivity with which he looks at India's story across the world. He's had very, very important assignments all his life, including working with the Honorable Prime Minister in the PMO. But I have, over the last few years, seen him work soft-spoken, extremely sincere, but very, very smartly navigating the India story across the world. Thank you for your leadership, Gopal Bagleji, and thank you for a wonderful visit to Australia for me, for my team, and for all the 1,100 delegates who have visited Sydney and other parts. Thank you for all that you've done. We also have Mr. Janki Raman, who's the Consul General of India in Sydney. He's your real host today and will look after all of you and your families while you're here. It's wonderful to see so many past presidents sitting in the room. Wonderful to see the women's wing so active. Rupa Ben, thank you for coming up with this report. I'm told the youth also are extremely active in CREDAI. Give the big hand to the youth. वैसे तो स्टेज पे सब यूथ ही दिख रहे हैं मुझे, पर समय आ जाता है हमारा भी नंबर लग जाता है एंड वी डोंट रियलाइज कि हमारे बच्चे अब उस स्टेज पे आ गए हैं कि अब उन्हें स्टेज पे होना चाहिए और हम सब नीचे बैठे होने चाहिए. But I think the transition that CREDAI has seen, even during these 25 years, I've had the privilege of being involved with your organization for several years, and I've seen that from the earlier set of leaders to your set, and now with the women and youth being so active, truly feel very gratified and would like to congratulate the entire leadership, the team working at CREDAI, and all of you distinguished members for the good work that you have done. It was quite a surprise for me when Baman and Jakse called me up and said that in such a large measure, we will have our Indian developers in Sydney at the same time that I was planning to coming to Australia. And I'm delighted that I could be amongst you. Baman and the rest of the team just gave me a little walk around to show me what the possibilities are and why this conference is being held in Sydney, what the learnings could be, including the fact that we possibly have a road going right up above some of the buildings in this complex, hotel rooms all around the place, massive MICE facilities. All of this are learnings that I'm sure we will all take back in some small measure in Delhi at least. The Bharat Mandapam and Yashobhumi, two very large exhibition spaces that are lagbhag 50% developed, but are expected to be completed in the next few years with full development, will have very similar facilities. Bharat Mandapam is already about 60,000-70,000 square meters of new facilities. The rest of the 30,000 we are now breaking down and making into equally grand exhibition halls. We are also planning a 5-star hotel at Bharat Mandapam. Now I have some plans before me which suggest that we could do a lot of 2, 3, 4-star rooms also, so that the whole Bharat Mandapam complex in the heart of the city, barely 2 or 3 kilometers away from Connaught Place, can actually become a vibrant center so that people from across the world come to Delhi and have their conferences in Delhi in the future. I think many of you wouldn't have visited Yashobhumi at all. Where is your program on 25th of November? Why not Bharat Mandapam or Yashobhumi? So that speaks volumes of this success story. Yashobhumi has even grander facilities. The first stage is complete, where we had a huge conference center, about another 70,000-80,000 square meters of very modern infrastructure for exhibitions is ready. We'll now go in for the phase 2, which will have shopping complexes, hotels, commercial offices, and an expansion of exhibition facilities. And the good part is, within a year, I don't know if you recall, 26 July last year is when Bharat Mandapam was inaugurated. Probably in September, early September is when Yashobhumi was inaugurated. And in less than a year, the situation is that it's not available for your own conference. It's completely sold out. We are having large conferences on textiles, on automobiles, semiconductor industry, electronics, electricals. You will be amazed. India is the food producer of the world, the largest food producer. But the largest food exhibition used to be held in Dubai, which only produces dates. Dates as in khajur. और कोई गलत फहमी मत ले लेना. खजूर बनाने वाला देश और दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा फूड शो दुबई में होता था. अब वो भारत में होगा, अपने ही देश में. और मैं मानता हूं कि आगे आने वाले दिनों में आप सबका सहयोग रहा, आप सबका आशीर्वाद रहा, आप सबका संकल्प भी रहा और मेहनत भी इसी प्रकार से रही, तो मुझे विश्वास है कि यही फैसिलिटी भारत में 10-12 बड़े शहरों में, मुंबई हो, बेंगलुरु हो, हैदराबाद हो, कोलकाता हो, गुवाहाटी हो, हम देश भर में इस प्रकार की अच्छी सुविधाएं, विश्वव्यापी सुविधाएं, इंटरनेशनल क्लास स्टेट ऑफ द आर्ट फैसिलिटीज बना सकेंगे. बेंगलुरु में हमें पैलेस के अंदर हर बार हैंगर्स नहीं बनाने पड़ेंगे. चेन्नई में कुछ मात्रा में एक कॉम्प्लेक्स बनाया गया है आईटीपीओ और तमिलनाडु की सरकार द्वारा, पर बहुत छोटा है, उसको भी एक्सपैंड करने की आवश्यकता है. इस प्रकार से अगर माइस सेक्टर को देश में बड़ी बूस्ट मिलती है, वो अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा इकोनॉमिक ड्राइवर ऑफ ग्रोथ बन सकता है. और आपके क्षेत्र को भी, क्योंकि आप में से कई लोग हॉस्पिटैलिटी में भी हैं, ये सब सेंटर्स बनेंगे तो वो भी आप ही का काम होगा. पर जब हम इतने सारे आंकड़े देखते हैं, और बमन जी ने तो इतने सारे आंकड़े एक साथ सुनाए कि मैं भी अपनी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी भूल गया और थोड़ा अर्थशास्त्री बनने की कोशिश कर रहा था. But I'm glad that Nilkant was there yesterday, and with the numbers that he has presented before you, I'd like to add my own two-bit so that we are all on the same page. Clearly, your sector is doing wonderful work and contributing immensely, whether it is to job creation, whether it is to building the needs of the nation, homes, offices, hotels, infrastructure, whether it is to bring sustainability to your sector or contributing to taxes and the national GDP. It's a remarkable journey. And ever since RERA was introduced, I know in the initial few years, there were some concerns. I have received your delegations. We have tried to address some of the issues. On some of the issues, there was a difference of opinion. I don't know finally what happened about that money being parked in the escrow account. It still is. Money being parked in the escrow account so that construction doesn't get stopped halfway through. And when I go to my own constituency of North Mumbai, I can see so many projects half done, half finished. But most of them, when I find out, they are all pre-RERA projects. So in a way, you will appreciate that a lot of the disciplines that were brought in were good for honest and sincere developers like all of you. That's right, it's brought transparency, it's brought certainty, it's brought... I myself, incidentally, have suffered, and I think many of the friends on the stage know it, and some I can see in the front row also know it, but the person who made me suffer I don't think is in this room. But when I bought my home in 2010, and it was ready, fully furnished by 12, Baman, 12, end of 12, I could not enter into my own home for nearly 5 years or 6 years after that, because it didn't have an occupation certificate. That was the level of uncertainty that buyers used to face. And I'm delighted that RERA has changed all of this. We now have a much more honest regime. And thankfully, with a lot of the unscrupulous developers, I believe, out of the system, now bankers are also getting more confidence in financing the sector. If at all you feel that there needs to be a bigger thrust, government will be happy to engage with CREDAI, with your various associations. Is it a national problem? Is it a problem because of certain areas not understanding? If there are any RBI problems, I am happy to discuss it and take it up both with RBI and the Finance Ministry, because in some sense, as industry minister, you belong to me also. And in any case, मोदी जी तो कभी साइलोज में देखते ही नहीं है, वो डिपार्टमेंट्स को अलग अलग कभी करते ही नहीं है. उनकी तो इच्छा है कि जिस प्रकार से भारत को वो एक दृष्टिकोण से देखते हैं, वन नेशन, उसी प्रकार से इंडस्ट्री भी पूरी एकजुट हो, वन बॉडी और वन इंडस्ट्री, उसी प्रकार से सरकार भी whole of the government approach says one government, center, state, panchayats, corporations. We believe that if all of us work with a collective mission, a sense of purpose, we can truly do wonders for India, working together with all of you in a public, private, government partnership. We can transform India. We can reform processes so that the nation becomes a developed nation, Viksit Bharat, by 2047. And I'm sure each one of you in this room agrees with me that that vision has truly empowered 140 crore Indians, has given all of us the self-confidence required to achieve big targets, big audacious goals in the years to come. And I have full confidence that your sector will not be found wanting when it comes to the collective effort of every citizen of India to contribute to a prosperous India, to make it inclusive, where every child born in the country gets the benefit of prosperity, and of course, as Bamanji mentioned, to focus on sustainability, because if we don't do that, in any case, we are looking at disaster in the years to come. Friends, I heard very carefully all the numbers that Bamanji was giving. He spoke about 70 million people being employed in your sector. I'm grateful to all of you for making the lives of 70 million families better, giving them a chance to go up the ladder. But may I make a small request of the sector, and I urge you, and I seek your indulgence, to kindly think about this in very serious terms, and if possible, come out with a resolution on the 25th of November, when we meet to celebrate 25 years after extensive stakeholder discussions with your I believe 20,000 or 25,000, 14,000 members. If everybody can collectively agree, then can we ensure a guaranteed ESIC and Provident Fund registration of all these 70 million workmen and women, so that there are 2 or 3 very major impacts this will have. A, it will give credit and credibility to your industry. People will start appreciating that you are providing jobs to 70 million, and that number will grow in the years to come. B, you will truly get credit for the good work you are doing. Very often that credit is found wanting because many policymakers, possibly bankers, possibly regulators, still look upon your industry with the prism of the past. And I think it's time we changed that. With 70 million people registered under ESIC and PF, you will truly be able to showcase your contribution to the national economy and to the well-being of India. That will have another very important impact for you personally. For every workman that will work with you, you will not only be providing 100% health coverage for them and their entire family, you will be providing them possibility of social security. You will be ensuring that facilities will be available across the country with children of these workmen and women getting creche or other requirements that are a part of the law. And most importantly, with Provident Fund contribution, you will be providing for their old age care, for their pension, for their social security post-retirement. Imagine if each one of you, some of you may be having maybe 50,000 workers, somebody will have 5 lakh workers, Baman Irani may have a little more, Irfan Bhai may have 1 million workers. मैं contextually तो गलत नहीं बोल रहा हूँ ना जग से? मित्रों, सोचो रात की नींद कैसे आएगी जब आप सोचोगे रात को सोते वक्त कि आपकी वजह से 10 लाख परिवार यानी 40-50 लाख लोगों का जीवन आपने सुधारा है। कल्पना करिए रात को कितनी सुकून, कितनी चैन की नींद आएगी आप में से एक एक व्यक्ति को और आपके परिवारों को। कितना अच्छा लगेगा स्वयं को, आपको स्वयं को कितना अच्छा लगेगा कि आपकी वजह से इतने सारे घर बस रहे हैं, इतने सारे जीवन सुधर रहे हैं। और अगर आपने ये 2 स्टेप्स लिए तो मेरा विश्वास है कि उनका काम, उनकी एफिशिएंसी, उनका आउटपुट, आपके वर्कर्स का आउटपुट भी सुधरेगा, क्योंकि उनको भी दिखेगा कि यू केयर फॉर देम, यू केयर फॉर देयर फैमिलीज. And with greater productivity, greater efficiency, the natural outcome is always better quality. Jaksebhai has been talking to me about better quality standards in construction. I hope the Quality Council will work with BIS and come up with more modern standards of construction. आप यहाँ पे मुझे बता तो रहे हो कि बिल्डिंग के ऊपर रोड है 2 फुट के गैप पे, और ये भी आपने मुझे सुना दिया कि रेलवे 30 मीटर पे रिस्ट्रिक्शन रखता है. COD की भी समस्या, ये सब चीजें मेरे एरिया में सबसे ज्यादा है. लेकिन जब यहाँ पे आते हैं और यहाँ की कंस्ट्रक्शन देखते हैं, उसकी क्वालिटी देखते हैं, सड़क का एस्फाल्टिंग देखते हैं, फिनिशिंग देखते हैं फ्लाईओवर के नीचे, तो तब ध्यान में आता है कि हम सब के भी काम में थोड़ा बहुत तो सुधार की आवश्यकता है. थोड़ा अपने अंतर्करण में देखेंगे, if we introspect, we will all recognize that we also have to contribute a little more to the success of meeting the standards that people of India also today expect from all of us. Many of you may not be in creating infrastructure like roads and highways or flyovers and railway lines or railway stations. But I do think it's a culture of quality. The moment in the real estate sector in construction, we accept this as a culture and we make up our mind that this is going to be the standard we will meet. खर्चा बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं होगा. मुझे लगता है थोड़ी better finishing करने में छोटा मोटा खर्चा बढ़ेगा. आप उससे ज़्यादा तो रेट बढ़ा देंगे. तो आपको तो फिर उसमें भी लाभ ही लाभ है. पर मुझे लगता है कि क्वालिटी के ऊपर भी अगर कोई सेशन है तो अच्छी बात है, नहीं है तो थोड़ा वर्किंग लंच डिनर करके एक सेशन क्वालिटी पे भी जरूर रखिएगा. आज सिडनी में जो देखे या जहां भी एक आपने बात कही अबाउट इंपोर्टेड इक्विपमेंट. थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर रेजिंग दैट इक्विपमेंट, द इशू ऑफ दैट इक्विपमेंट. बट मुझे तो लगता है ड्यूटी और बढ़ाने की आवश्यकता है. और मित्रों, कल्पना करिए, एक तरफ आप मुझे कह रहे हैं कि दुनिया की सबसे ज्यादा अपॉर्चुनिटी कंस्ट्रक्शन की, ग्रोथ की भारत में है. एंड आई हैव हर्ड दिस दैट व्हाटएवर कंस्ट्रक्शन हैज बीन बिल्ट इन इंडिया सो फार, we will need twice that amount of construction in the next 30 years. Is that something that has been spoken about very often? शायद उससे ज्यादा ही. तो अगर इतने बड़े पैमाने पे आगे चल के आपके क्षेत्र में एक्सपेंशन होना है, ग्रोथ होनी है, तो क्या ये इक्विपमेंट अभी भी विदेश से आना चाहिए या हमें आत्मनिर्भर होकर भारत में बनाना चाहिए? और अगर इतनी ड्यूटीज हैं तो हो सकता है कि आप में से भी कोई व्यक्ति या आपके बच्चे, जैसे आपके कितने बच्चे हैं, तो उसमें से एक बच्चे को भी इंडस्ट्री लगाने में लगाई है. आप लोग भी देखिए, क्यों हमारे यहाँ पे सिर्फ ओटिस और मित्सुबिशी और थिसन ग्रुप और आजकल तो कि जॉनसन ज्यादा दिखता है. मुझे बड़ा अजीब और गरीब लगता है. जॉनसन किस देश से आता है? नहीं, चेन्नई के पहले. इट्स ओरिजिनल. Okay, then it's very good. Mujhe somebody told me it comes from a northern neighbor. Oh, thank God. It's homegrown. Lovely, that's very good. But let's have some more homegrown brands of all these products. And it's eminently doable. आज भारत में टेक्नोलॉजी, कैपेबिलिटीज, मैन पावर स्किल्स, टैलेंट, किसी की कमी नहीं है. पूरी दुनिया भारत की तरफ देख रही है. तो क्यों आपका कंस्ट्रक्शन इक्विपमेंट, आपके लाइटिंग इक्विपमेंट, आपके इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इक्विपमेंट, your multi-storied car parking lifts, why should all of these not be made in India? And I'm not saying assembled, made in India. And I would urge you to come up with a list of products, potential market size. I will become your ambassador to talk to industry leaders, to CII, FICCI, to all of them to start promoting the manufacture of these products in India. No harm taking collaborations from abroad. No harm even getting some technologies from abroad. But instead of the duties, I think let's focus on making high quality equipment in India. If you can come to me with proposals where there's a 3-year, 4-year transition period during which the industry will be set up in India, and each one of you has enough friends in industry whom you can encourage to get into this line of business, then I'm happy to reduce the duty rates for that transition period with a well-defined roadmap that, okay, for 3 years, during which period the industry will be self-sufficient in India, we can reduce the duties and then escalate the duties to higher levels. Let's discuss with that kind of a positive outlook. I have one suggestion, which has been in my mind for a long time. I think no better opportunity than this. And I'd like to get a feedback on the 25th of November when I come. One big cause of pollution in the cities, and you spoke extensively about sustainability, green buildings, LEED certified buildings and all of that. One big problem in the cities is the cement concrete mixing that happens on site, because we still are using age-old technologies of construction. In a city like Mumbai with the sea right next door, but for construction, I think we would never have a problem on environment or on all the metrics of pollution that of late are showing very disturbing numbers even for Mumbai. I'm sure the same is the story in Bengaluru and Hyderabad. Delhi, of course, is a crazy affair with construction all over the place. Delhi, Gurugram, Noida, that whole NCR belt. My suspicion is that if we were to move to steel structures and use precast equipment, just like we see in Europe, in America, in Dubai, in Singapore, and possibly even in Australia, the cost of construction may not go up very significantly, but the speed of construction will certainly go up. You may actually be able to complete the project much faster, reduce your interest cost, satisfy your customer faster. And with the money rotation being faster, you can do much more business. For every dollar, rupee that you are spending, investing in your business, you can probably expand much more in terms of output. Can we look at least to begin with the 8 or 10 big cities in India, adopting, and I would ideally like it to be a suo moto industry adoption rather than a government forced adoption. Because जो भी government करेगी फिर आप उस पे विरोध करोगे और आंदोलन शुरू करोगे. पर अगर आपने शुरू किया, आपने स्वयं से इसको नॉर्म बनाया, तो आप कल्पना करिए कि आपके सेक्टर को कितना गुडविल मिलेगा. दुनिया में कितनी तारीफ होगी आप सबकी कि आपने स्वयं अच्छी प्रैक्टिसेस, गुड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, गुड कंस्ट्रक्शन प्रैक्टिसेस को प्रोत्साहन दिया है. So I would urge you to look at an industry-sponsored, industry-encouraged self-regulation to promote better and modern quality construction, form of construction. Finally, before I conclude, I would like to offer my services to your industry to see how we can reduce the entire approval process, planning approval process, building approval process, the number of approvals that you require, the time taken for getting the permissions, both at the pre-construction stage, architectural stage, structural stage, building stage, and the completion stage. If industry is forthcoming to commit yourself to honesty and transparency, if I can get a pledge from all your 14,000 members, what Prime Minister Modi desires very, very earnestly, na khaunga, na khane dunga. अगर आप सब इस बात के लिए संकल्प लेने को तैयार हैं, और वो तभी हो सकता है जब शॉर्टकट आप भी कोशिश नहीं करेंगे. वो तभी हो सकता है जब आप भी ये नहीं चाहोगे कि बिल्डिंग प्लानिंग परमिशन तो मुझे इतना अलाउड है, लेकिन यार किसको पटा के थोड़ा सा एक्सेस में खींच लूँ आगे. अगर आपकी इंडस्ट्री पूरी तरीके से विद इन द बिल्डिंग बायलॉज, विद इन द रेगुलेशन काम करने के लिए तैयार है, तो मैं आपके साथ जुड़ के, पर्टिकुलरली शुरू में तो ये बड़े शहरों की प्रॉब्लम है, मुंबई, दिल्ली वगैरह की, मैं आपके साथ जुड़ के काम करने के लिए तैयार हूं कि हम एक एक के साथ जाके बात करेंगे और स्टेट और कॉरपोरेशंस के इकोसिस्टम से भी चर्चा करेंगे कैसे इस पूरे सिस्टम को क्लीन अप किया जाए, कैसे एनवायरनमेंट की अप्रूवल हो या बिल्डिंग अप्रूवल्स हो, कैसे इन सबको शुद्ध किया जाए। मैंने अपने क्षेत्र में नॉर्थ मुंबई में सभी अधिकारियों को ऑलरेडी कहा है कि कुछ भी हो जाए, मुझे एक भी कंप्लेन नहीं आनी चाहिए कि किसी को आपने हैरेस किया, किसी को परेशान किया। I've already instructed all my officials in North Mumbai, and Baman, you can take advantage of that if you're planning any new construction there. But I would urge all of you and any of you who's working in my area, if even a single official troubles you, please come straight up to me, because I want to make a model of that area and try to make sure that it becomes totally corruption free. And if all of you are willing, collectively we can do it in all of India. मुझे लगता है अगर आप प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी को कुछ तोहफा देना चाहते हो तो इससे अच्छा तोहफा कुछ नहीं हो सकता, इससे अच्छा मोमेंटो कुछ नहीं हो सकता। और अगर आपके क्षेत्र में ये बदलाव आ जाता है तो मुझे लगता है पूरे देश में बदलाव लाना संभव हो जाएगा, पूरे देश का भविष्य उज्जवल हो जाएगा। तो लेट्स गो फॉर इट टुगेदर फ्रेंड्स, लेट्स वर्क टू अ प्लान, लेट्स वर्क विद दैट सिंसियरिटी ऑफ पर्पस that I see in your leadership and I see in all the friends assembled here today. My compliments to each and every one of you, and let's go for a strong industry, a sustainable industry, a very, very vibrant future of the real estate sector, something which will not only make every Indian proud, but will make the world look up to our real estate sector, to look up to CREDAI, to NATCON, to all the various associations as a model association and as a model sector which is transforming the lives of millions of Indians and which at some stage will become an instrument of exports for India, and you will all be having international operations and coming to Sydney and Singapore to build new structures, new buildings, as those countries will need a reconstruction plan in the years to come. New York, London already are cities which are now due for a reconstruction stage. Almost all of America, which was developed after the Great Depression in the 30s and 40s, now is up for reconstruction. तो अब भारत के रियल एस्टेट सेक्टर सिर्फ एनुअल कॉन्फ्रेंस करने विदेश नहीं जाएगा, अब भारत का रियल एस्टेट सेक्टर दुनिया में जाके अपना परचम फैलाएगा। ये मेरी आप सबको शुभकामनाएं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
So, today's our chief guest, Honorable Minister for Commerce and Industry, Shri Piyush Goyal ji, our esteemed guest of honor, Ambassador Gopal Bagle ji, our past chairman Irfan Razak ji, our past president Jakshay ji, President Boman, Chairman Manoj Gaur, President-elect Shekhar Patel, and NATCON Committee Chairman Nagaraj Reddy. A very good afternoon to all of you. Firstly, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to our chief guest, Honorable Shri Piyush Goyal ji, for taking time out for your busy schedule to be with us in Sydney. Your presence of our 22nd NATCON in Sydney signifies your support for the industry, and we are incredibly honored. Your good words about CREDAI gives our good strength. Thank you for accepting our President's invitation for our 25-year celebrations in New Delhi. Sir, your words about culture of quality of construction, the skill is missing. Definitely we are going to skill. A lot of things are happening in skill development. Yeah. So your talk about the precast structures, so it's going to be a reality when the cost of construction is going to be little lesser than what it is now. Special thanks to our guest of honor, Ambassador Gopal Bagleji, for gracing this occasion with your esteemed presence. We deeply appreciate your presence, sir. I also want to acknowledge the incredible efforts of NATCON Organizing Committee from CREDAI, Karnataka. I congratulate entire team of CREDAI, Karnataka for having a great NATCON. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for that completely eye-opening session on Viksit Bharat. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause for our chief guest and our guest of honor today. Thank you so much, gentlemen.